Hello, Graham.
Hey, Paul, how are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. So we're having a conversation about growth today
Awesome.
and also motivation.
Perfect.
So the first question is going to be, what does personal growth mean to you?
Personal growth honestly means everything to me because I started off in a very hard place. Honestly, when I was a young kid, I didn't really have many aspirations or goals. I did always want to be something. I just wasn't sure what I wanted to be. And I was going through some struggles personally, mentally, physically, all the different kinds of struggles there are. And it took me a long time to figure out like where do I fit into this earth. So through a lot of personal growth and development, thankfully, I've been able to become the man I am today. And it wasn't an easy journey, but thankfully, I'm here and we're here together and it worked out. So I think personal growth is something that we never stop doing until the day we die. We should always be growing. And
Yeah.
I do recommend anyone who's going through tough times to just focus on personal growth for a bit. And hopefully that will lead them in the right direction.
So I take it you take it as personal growth is very important.
Yes, I definitely agree. Like personal growth is one of the most important things we can do.
Yes, I strongly agree with that because there's a book I read, The Way the Brain that Changes Itself.
Yeah.
We don't stop growing after 25. That's actually slightly made up. After 18, we stop learning new things, and a lot of people argue with that automatically. They say after 18, we start to learn more about our main topic.
Yeah.
But that's exactly the point. Since we're learning more about our main topic, we're no longer learning new stuff. In schools, we used to study new subjects, new activities, and that is what causes the brain to grow, to increase our cognitive abilities. And if you if you simply continue to learn new stuff, such as juggling, new languages, new activities, basically something that's you never known about before, you will continue to grow. That's my personal opinion about that stuff.
I definitely agree.
So we discussed that personal growth is basically mandatory. So how would you say it's a good way to stay motivated to keep growing? Because you know how motivation falls for some people.
Yes. I think being consistent is something that's super important. We all have motivation in our hearts sometimes, and through motivation, it helps us have like a fire to go extra hard, right? But when that motivation lacks, which naturally happens, then a lot of the times we fall off. Right. So in my mind, what I've learned is to just be consistent every single day, regardless if you feel motivated or not. That consistency will hopefully help you grow faster than having like a moment where you're super motivated and you got a lot of work done, but then maybe a couple days you feel slightly depressed or slightly slower and you don't get work done. And so there's 3 days of no work and 1 day of work. Rather than being consistent, even if it's just a little bit each day, you get 4 days of half work, which if you do the math on that, you end up getting 2 full days of work in comparison to 1 motivated day and 3 days of loss, right? So I think consistency over motivation, and obviously being passionate about what you do helps with that motivation. Having as much motivation as possible is a good thing, but just keeping consistent and just building it brick by brick, one little bit of it at a time, I think is super beneficial when it comes to personal growth.
I heard one of the authors from a certain book say that you cannot stay passionate all the time. That sometimes you need to overcome the feeling of boredom.
Yes.
There are stuff that you really like doing, but for example, if you eat the same meal every day, even if it's your favorite, there's going to be a time where you're going to get bored of it. And the point I'm trying to make is that if you have a certain favorite passion, that if you get bored of it, don't stop. Keep your consistency, as you say, right?
Yes. I think I heard that same quote, and I think that's what I was referencing as well. So that's a great point.
And there was also another billionaire, I believe, who said that in his perspective, discipline is more important than intelligence. I don't remember which one it was. Maybe it was a millionaire or something.
Yeah, I do agree, though. I think that's actually a great point as well, that discipline is one of the most important things we can have. You can be, like, I know when I was learning in business, I was starting off in the beginning, I was learning a lot of things and I was very knowledgeable about business, but I wasn't implementing anything and I wasn't very disciplined. It's not until I started actually doing things and being disciplined about what I was going to do every morning and what I was going to do every day. That's when I started seeing success. Reading the books wasn't actually making me successful. It was the discipline and the implementation of the things that I learned that actually broke me through the door and made my life more successful.
I think Forrest Gump is a wonderful example for this situation.
Yes.
Because he's not brilliant. he's even slightly below average. We have to agree with that.
Yes.
And he still becomes a millionaire. Because he simply he goes and does whatever the activity is, whatever goal he has, he just goes and does it, which some of the greatest geniuses in the world cannot accomplish. It also reminds me slightly of one of those Mortal Kombat quests that when you have to go around the quest and you have to find new stuff, new treasures and stuff like that. But if you stay at one spot, basically in your apartment or in your condo, in your house, you're not going to find anything.
Exactly.
There's not going to be anything new, just getting older, and older.
I love how you reference video games because it makes the most sense. It's like if we are a video game character, how are we supposed to level up without actually doing things, right? So we have to get out there, and sometimes we will fail. Sometimes we will have to restart. But at the end of the day, as long as we're doing things, we're ranking up, we're getting more XP, and hopefully leveling up our character.
What habits or routines help you improve yourself daily?
Okay, so one of the most valuable habits that I've learned is to just wake up with a positive attitude every single day and try to be thankful and grateful for everything that you do have, regardless if it's a hard day or maybe things aren't the way that you would hope. You got to be thankful and grateful for what you have. And I think that just gives you the feeling of accomplishment already, so you don't feel down on yourself. That would be number one. Another thing that I found that really helps me is having a calendar with everything scheduled, so I know exactly what I'm going to do every day. And that way I don't get confused or convoluted with my thoughts. I know exactly what I have to do. I get those things done. As long as those things are done, then at the end of the day, I feel less anxiety and less stress. So having a good calendar, a good scheduling system, as well as just a good attitude and being grateful for what you do have, I think those two things together can help most people with their habits and hopefully just like organize their life a bit more.
Yeah, I think one of the important things to have is not to have a good schedule, as you say, but not try to get a perfect one. I noticed that pretty much there was a time where a psychologist told me that I have perfectionism, but then I learned that pretty much everybody I knew also had perfectionism. And basically that's some kind of a new habit that our generation has developed, the millennials, that perfectionism is pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
So again, don't overdo it into a perfect schedule. If there comes a day where you're not exactly motivated, as we discussed earlier, slightly bored, just try to keep to your schedule. It's gonna come back in the next day or two. Don't overdo it.
Yeah.
Do you think that what you mentioned, the schedule, will improve yourself? Do you think we need to continue improving our schedule every year at least?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's important to know what you're good at and what you can add the most value with. And then if you're a business owner, as an example, focus your strengths on what you can do for the business. And then anything that you may have weaknesses towards, help build a team around that. And then once you have a team of those people, you can help each other. And hopefully your strengths together will help business grow, life get better, and improve in any way that you'd like to.
Yeah, basically we're leveling up.
Yeah, we're leveling up. XP, you know?
Okay. So number 4 is, I think you're going to like this one. How do you deal with burnout and restore your energy?
I love this one because I recently experienced just this. I had burnout. I was working way too much. I was not eating enough. I was doing so many things, and it finally affected me where I was just completely burnt out. So what I've learned now is that we have to put our health first. We have to eat food. We have to make sure we're eating like nutrient food. We can't just be eating McDonald's French fries all the time. We have to eat things that actually give us nutrients, right? And at the same time, having enough rest, actually sleeping, and trying to get like that full 7-8 hours if you can. I know sometimes it's difficult to get a good sleep, but as long as we treat ourselves well first, and then that will actually help everything else in our life. In the beginning, I was thinking, oh, if I just focus on my business and I don't sleep and don't eat, then everything will be like, the business will survive and everything will be good. But then what happens if I'm not here? The business doesn't live, right? So we have to focus on ourselves first, sure our health is good, make sure we're getting the right sleep, and then that helps with the burnout. I now feel, after I've been eating good and sleeping good for the last like week or two, I feel much better. I feel like the business is going to be doing much better now that I have enough energy to make sure everything's covered and everybody's taken care of. And so when it comes to burnout, I think we just need to value our health as much as possible, because at the end of the day, nothing matters if we don't have our health. So yeah, making sure that we're eating good, sleeping good, and that we have the right people around us, good energy, good atmosphere. I think all of those things help a lot with burnout.
I think it's very important to focus on long term instead of short terms, because this is something similar to a burnout. In my case, there was a time where I was on a certain diet and I really wanted certain candy bars at the evening. And I thought, damn, no, it's better if I not. Anyway, next morning when I woke up, I was so proud of myself for not eating that candy bar. Again, think of the long term.
That was me yesterday. I was at the dollar store. There were all these candies. I was in the aisle. I was looking down like, oh, that looks good. And in my head, I'm like, I'm not going to get it. You know what I did get? I got coconut water from the dollar store, which is actually surprising they have it. It was made in Vietnam, which I actually like because Vietnam has great coconuts. So I drank it. It's delicious. And now I'm going to start buying that instead of any like sweets or chips or anything like that.
There's so many brilliant foods they have. It's just sadly they're not advertised a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 5. What book or experience has had the biggest impact on your mindset and personal development?
This is a good question because I have a funny answer for it. The Secret. Have you ever heard of The Secret?
Yes.
Yes, The Secret. When I was younger, I had a teacher who showed me The Secret. And it's so funny because it's kind of like, in a way, it's kind of like cringe or corny. People would think like, oh, they just say manifest it and you get it, right? But the truth is there is actually a lot of power in that. And when I was a younger kid, you know, I didn't really know what I was going to be in life. I wasn't sure. I had aspirations of doing something. I just wasn't sure what it was. So I had to ask myself, what do I want? And I think it's important to understand what you want out of life. What are your goals? What are things that you would love to have or love to experience? And once I started thinking about that, I started realizing what I want to work for. And then once I started figuring out what I want to work for, I started deciphering what I had to do to get it, you know? So then The Secret, as funny as it sounds, actually did give me that initial spark in my brain to start manifesting things and wanting things for myself, which then in turn helped me decipher those things. And that's why I chose the schools that I chose. That's why I chose the friends that I chose. That's why I went after the business mentors that I learned from. And yeah, all of that came just from manifesting in the beginning the life that I wanted. And that's all thanks to The Secret. It's so funny.
I have to say that the way you started telling that story sounded kind of different from the start. When you said, when I was younger, my teacher once showed me his secret, and I was like, damn, dude. I have to say, I couldn't resist.
That's hilarious. It was a woman, by the way.
Okay, yeah. Then it's a good thing, I guess.
And shout out to her. Her name's Terry Lynn, and she was phenomenal. She was a great teacher. I also had another teacher I want to shout out. His name's Suleiman. He's from Khartoum in Sudan. He's learned his ABCs in the sand, he told me, and he taught me a lot about business, a lot about life. He made me love mathematics, actually, and my love of math actually made me choose a certain business school. And when I went to that business school, I was able to excel in math thanks to him. So yeah, he opened up my eyes a lot as a young, like 16-year-old kid on just the importance of math in our world and how we can apply math to actually do well and be successful.
Yeah, a lot of people don't seem to comprehend how important math is.
Yeah, math is a beautiful thing, actually. Was there any book or experience that changed your life when you were younger?
So one of the books that really helped, there was a lot of books. There's so many of them that I read. One of them that started the whole thing that got me motivated into entrepreneurship, A Millionaire.
Oh, I've heard of this, yeah.
And it's not the best. There's a lot of books that are better than that. But it is a book that helped me a lot with the purpose of trying to become rich and stuff like that.
Cool.
I can say that when it comes to social skills, a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I'm pretty sure a lot of people heard of that.
Well, yeah.
And when it comes to careers, a book, Mastery. I really like that one. It's pretty complex, but it's still pretty good. Oh, I forgot one of the most important ones, because I also invested in the stock market a lot. And the book, The Intelligent Investor.
Cool.
By Benjamin Graham.
Yes.
Who is actually the mentor of Warren Buffett.
Mm-hmm.
And Warren Buffett is currently a billionaire who has $100 billion net worth. So I'm pretty sure that his mentor was a really good teacher. You should take a few examples from him.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me on the podcast today. It's been so awesome to chat with you and all of your great questions. And it's always great hanging out with you here. And I love what the Gentleman Network does for young men out here on the earth. So thank you for your messaging and everything that you do.
Yep. So again, I will originally give you a handshake, but we can't do that sitting. So
of course.